got questions about real estate? Duane's got the answers. Introducing the real estate Jedi Master, Duane Beisner.
The Force is powerful and is able to transverse great distances. You see how I was able to use the Force to beckon you to come and watch this episode? But seriously, my name is Duane and I am the last real estate Jedi Master, and this is episode 12 in a series. I've created some new content for you today, but first let's get to the quote of the day. And this one comes from one of my heroes, Mr. Rogers. Fred Rogers was an American television personality, musician, puppeteer, writer, producer, and Presbyterian minister. He was the creator, showrunner, and host of the preschool television series Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, which ran from 1968 all the way to 2001. My children grew up watching that show and learning many of those wonderful lessons. And I think that in part is why they are such great people. The quote is, "Who you are inside is what helps make you do everything in your life." And I'm a real estate Jedi Master inside, so that helped me to do what I need to do in life. Today's episode is about the difference between escrow and roundtable closing. There are only two ways to legally and safely purchase and close on real estate property. The roundtable closing is an actual event. Here, the parties meet face-to-face to exchange documents and transfer money. The escrow closing is a process by which the parties may never meet and documents may be executed at different times and at different places. The roundtable closing establishes an actual time and place for all parties to work towards a close. People are encouraged to accomplish their tasks with a specific deadline confronting them. The buyer and the seller are present at the closing to work out any last-minute details and unforeseen difficulties. The escrow closing can avoid some of the disadvantages of the roundtable closing. There's an orderly recording of the documents and transfer of the funds. In the roundtable closing, there's often a gap between the time of the closing and the recording of the documents and the update of the title. The seller may actually walk away from the roundtable closing with a check in hand before the deed is recorded. The risk of this gap is eliminated in the escrow closing. Very important. The escrow closing encourages the parties to work out all details beforehand. Here, the parties may execute an escrow agreement outlining how the escrow agent is to proceed in closing. The roundtable closing, on the other hand, can encourage parties to work out the final details at the closing table. And this can encourage last-minute renegotiation of matters previously placed to rest. Obviously, that's a risk. Some states, like here in California, are escrow states. However, many other states use the roundtable closing. And whether or not there is an escrow closing or a roundtable closing, the lender will provide the settlement agent with a closing package, escrow instructions, or closing instructions. These documents are the closing agent's instructions as how to proceed through the closing. There may be a list of documents being submitted or to be prepared in the package, and a list of additional documents required or conditions that must be satisfied by the previous parties to the transaction. A closing protection letter from the title company may be required by a lender when a title agency of a title company is closing the transaction. The lender will usually ensure that the title company will reimburse the party to whom the letter is issued for a loss incurred by the title agency's failure to comply with the written closing instructions that relate to either the status of the title to the property or the obtaining of any documents specifically required by the party to whom the letter is issued, but not to the extent that the instructions require a determination of the validity, enforceability, or effectiveness of such document, or the collection and payment of funds due. The closing protection letter will also ensure that the title company will reimburse for a loss arising out of the fraud or dishonesty of the issuing agent in handling the funds or documents in connection with the closing. So, your assignment that I'm giving to you is to talk to someone who has purchased in an escrow state and gather their experience. And then talk to someone who has purchased in a roundtable closing state and gather their experience in regard to that. It would actually be very interesting if you could talk to the same buyer who has at one time purchased with both of these methods in their lives. As always, I encourage your comments or questions. Please call me at 949-510-4750 or email me at info@rejedi.com. This is the last Real Estate Jedi Master saying so long until next time, and may the Force be with you.